Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. So once again, a response to North Star Knife Review's open tag called Seeing Red, in which we're going to be showing red knives, so knives with red covers on them. Now, I'm trying to come up with a way to go through my red Swiss Army knives, but I've got quite a few of those, so I'm still thinking about that, and once I come up with a good way to do that, I will be doing that. But in the meantime, what I'm going to be looking at today are my red knives that have red bone handles and are made in the United States. So Swiss Army fans, something to look forward to, but for today, we're going to look at USA made red knives that feature bone handles. And actually, one of the reasons I've chosen the red bone USA made knives is because I really don't have too many of them. It's not a color that I actually actively seek out. But in any case, I do have 6 of them, and I think they're pretty cool, and I think you'll like them. So let's get started. Now, the very first knife I'm showing you is actually by Case, and it actually came with this, a Case Rattle Trap fishing lure with a nice glass eye going on there, the little Case logo on there. How could a fish resist the Case logo? And you hear it makes lots of noise when it's in the water. And it's a wonderful red fishing lure. And, well, you can probably guess that that lure came with a fishing knife. And it is also in red. I believe this is a strawberry peach seed jig bone knife. It's a little lighter on the front there, but it is definitely a red bone knife. And you got the nickel silver bolsters. You have the hook sharpening shield on the front there. Nice brass liners and really good fit going on there. Yeah, brass pins as well. The nice long muskrat blade. This one is built on a 4 1/4 inch frame, and it has a blade that comes in right at 3 1/2 inches with a 3-inch cutting edge going on with the blade. And as this is the fish knife and not just a medium toothpick, it also has the fish scaling blade with the cap lifter and the little hook remover going on. And it is just a really well-made knife. We see right there, Case USA 620094F for fish knife, and then stainless steel. And we have right there, we see that it is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dots going on there. So that brings it to whatever year I have listed down over here, because I did not bother to look ahead of time. But I believe this was from 2014, I think. So it's going on 10 years old now. So that's my Case fish knife. And let's see what's next. Let's go on with the next knife, which would be a toothpick. How's that? But it's not a Case toothpick. It is a toothpick by Bear & Son. And as you can see here on the bolster, it's got some scratches on there because this is number 55. This is one of 100 knives. This is number 55. And this was from the Smoky Mountain Knife Works ribbon cutting ceremony in 2006. And let's get this open here. See right there. SMKW ribbon cutting 2006, 1 of 100, Bear & Son cutlery. And look at that really wicked looking clip blade there. Does have the 2 nail nicks there. It's a full flat grind going on it, not the typical way that Bear & Son was doing their clip blades back in the early 2000s, but they did have a wicked looking clip blade on their knives back then. And a wonderful red smooth bone going on there. got a nice swell in the center there too. Now this one comes in at 4 7/8 inches long. As you can tell from here, the blade is just a little bit shy of 4 inches. It comes in right a little over 4 3/4 inches with a cutting edge that is 3.5 inches. So that's the large toothpick by Baron Son that I have, and that is the second of my red stone knives. So let's bring in number 3, and this one is by Great Eastern Cutlery. It is the 38 11 17 India paintbrush jig bone. I don't know where the name comes from. I don't know if Indian is the color of the knife, or Indian paint is the color of the knife, or Indian paintbrush is the color of the knife. I'm thinking Indian paint is the color of the knife, and brush jig bone is the style of jigging on the knife. Don't know. In any case, this is it. It is the 38 jack, commonly referred to as the 38 special jack, and it's got some really pretty red bone on there, whatever the color is. In the world of case knives, this would be known as a corncob jigging, and I really do like that jigging on there. I believe this is the paintbrush jig bone. I think that's what it is, and Indian is the color of the bone. But in any case, it's red. And we got single thread pinch bolsters on both ends. Nice sleeve board frame, which means the top is smaller than the bottom, and it's got a certain serpentine shape to it too, which fits the knife blade really quite well, which is basically a long clip blade, if you can see there, almost a Turkish clip, I would say. You got a swedge running the entire length of the blade there too. Typical of GEC, you have the Northfield Unexcelled trademark blade etch going on there, and then all the other information right here. Northfield Unexcelled, made in USA, and then on the back side you've got the pattern number 381117. So 38 is the pattern number, 1 is the style of blade, which is this long clip, and then the next one is the number of blades, and 17 was the year of production. Now I got this knife back in I think 21 or 2022, somewhere around there. So this knife was already out of production for about 4 years when I got it, which means that the only place you're going to find it was on the secondary market. However, it was gifted to me by a friend, so that was pretty cool. You see here GEC TIW instead of GEC CAR. I believe the blade is still made in 1095 carbon steel. What the TIW stands for is Titusville Iron Works, which is where the knife was made. So really cool knife, and not a bad looker, and not too small. You see here the length comes in right at 3 7/8 inches long. This knife is pretty much legal to carry anywhere. As you can see, it's a 3-inch blade, actually a little less than 3 inches, with a cutting edge that comes in just over 2.5 inches. Notice we got a little bit of extra space here, so even though that's showing there, if we pop it up, it's still under 3 inches. So really cool knife, something that can be carried anywhere or almost anywhere. Nice little slip joint, and it's just a beautiful knife, and especially for a red one. So I really like that one. Let's move on to the next one, and this is another case. So what we got here is a Shepherd Hills exclusive number 18 Stockman by Case, and it's in a beautiful strawberry bone, and it's in the peach seed jigging, if you can see there, and it's really well matched. And if we open it up here, we see that it is a 10 dot. This is from 2020, and it's got that long skinny Skinner blade that you find on those, which comes in right at 2.5 inches long. The knife itself is just 3.5 inches. Got the Case oval shield there. You got the brass pins. Nickel silver bolsters, brass liners. Look at the fit and finish on that. This thing is amazing. And then the cool thing on the back side here is if we open up the sheep foot blade, we see right there, Case USA, 6318 PU and CV. So CV, this is in chrome vanadium, 1083 chrome vanadium, I believe. But the cool thing right there is the punch. The fact that this has a punch blade on it. So we got the punch blade going on with it, also in chrome vanadium. All blades are chrome vanadium, and it's just a really fantastic little knife. And it's something you don't see that often. There's just not a lot of punch-bladed Stockmans out there these days, but Shepherd Hills seems to put them out. They have one in a Black Delrin, and then this one came out in 2020. I don't know if they're still doing it, but it's nice to come across a Stockman with a punch blade, and I bought this one new when it came out because, well, I like the 18 pattern Stockman by Case. I like the punch blade. What more could I want? And I gotta tell you, that red was gorgeous, and this thing is so well matched. It's unbelievable. In any case, let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to bump back over to Great Eastern Cutlery, and this one is in the elderberry jig bone. It's the 82-82-18. So it's the 82 frame, which is a large serpentine frame, and 8, the number 8 stands for a muskrat blade, and then there's a 2 there. So could it possibly have 2 muskrat blades? And it was made in 2018. And let's pop that one out. And here we have it, 3 7/8 inches long on that long serpentine frame. And well, it definitely looks like a muskrat, but it's not. This is the possum skinner. And we see here, it comes in right at, it's actually over 3 7/8 inches, comes in right at 4 1/8 inches long overall. And you see that beautiful elderberry jigging there. That is a pretty color, the elderberry jig bone. Kind of looks like a cross-cut jigging going on there. But the elderberry is really what got me. I really like that color. And I'm not a person who really likes red jig bone because so much of it looks like tomato paste. But this one in that gorgeous deep red is just beautiful. And the other selling point on here was the fact that it is the possum skinner. And we see here you got the long muskrat skinner blade going on. Great Eastern Cutlery, made in USA. And now we see it saying Great Eastern Cutlery, Titusville, Pennsylvania. And then the secondary blade on here is got the pattern number on it, and it says carbon, nice and clear. And as you can tell, it is a Wharncliffe blade, and this is their possum skinner. My only regret with this is they also had a Stockman version of this knife, and I passed on the Stockman. I wish I would have bought both of them. I just did not have the funds at the time, so I went with the possum skinner. And between the two knives, I definitely like the possum skinner better than the Stockman. But you got that beautiful Wharncliffe blade there. And then that long muskrat blade over here. Just a beautiful knife. And there's my Great Eastern Cutlery or Northfield Unexcelled Possum Skinner. That leaves me with one more knife to show you. Now, this is a knife you're really not going to find anywhere else because it is a one-of-a-kind. If we can see right there, prototype. This was a knife that Smoky Mountain Knife Works was going to make, but decided not to make. And it came out of the private collection of Steve Kuntz, who at one time ran the show Knives Live TV, which was where Smoky Mountain Knife Works was selling knives on satellite television. In any case, Steve Kuntz had a contest that was running, and he thought he had a question that nobody was going to be able to answer. There was only one person who was able to answer it, and that was me. And he was really kind of caught off guard. So was the other people in the on the channel. In any case, this is the knife that I ended up winning. He ended up giving this knife to me. It is a prototype of a knife that they were thinking of making into a special edition there at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They did quite a few knives with Queen. The old Colonel Kuhn line used to be made with Queen cutlery. Now they own the trademark for Queen cutlery. But this is basically a boy's knife, as you can tell there. Overall length of the knife is right at 3 1/4 inches. Yeah, about 3 1/4 or 3 3/8 inches, really. And it's got a common spear master blade going on there. And that spear blade comes in right at 2 1/2 inches with a cutting edge of about 2 1/4 inches. And you see there's really nothing fancy about this knife at all, other than it is a full flat grind 1095 carbon steel blade. It was in the Queen City line, Queen City, Titusville, PA, or was it in the Queen Cutlery, Titusville, PA? They weren't sure which way it was going to go, so they got both tank stamps on the blade here. You also notice a wonderful red jig bone. The jigging looks like a corn cob jigging, and it looks like it's been burnt. You've got a slant bolster up on the front here with the single ring, and then you've got a straight bolster on the back. I don't think this is really what they were going for. I think what they were trying to decide on is how they wanted to have the bolsters. Did they want a straight bolster? Did they want a slant bolster? Like I said, this is a prototype. They weren't sure where they were going to go with it. And you've got the brass pins and the brass liners going on, but really just a fantastic little knife, and it is one of a kind. You got the pinch bolsters up here too, and really good half stop. It just pops to the half stop, and you see that it really locks in place. Just a fantastic knife, and it's one of a kind. I wish they would have gone into production with it. If I would have gone into production with it, I would have had the slant bolster up there, which looks really good, but I would have had a bare head bottom on it. That's the way I would have gone with it. So if you guys at Smoky Mountain Knife Works are still watching, maybe you should come out with this, with a bare head boy's knife with a slant bolster on the top. And you can now do it in the Queen's line because, well, you've got the Queen's trademark. Any case, there's my, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My 6 red bone knives that are made in the USA. And that is truly all of my red bone knives that are made in the USA. I just don't have that many of them. But it's enough for this video. let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.